bullshitty.
We are back.
We're back on time.
Wow.
For the first time ever.
That's never happened.
Yeah, it's like we're a professional operation these days.
Yeah, like the Bears.
Yeah, like the Bears. Let's talk about all of the overbearing things that we've run into recently here. The Bears. Well, we talk about the Bears.
When Eberflus gone? When is he gone? How's he not gone?
Well, I mean, they fired Shane Waldron, but the Bears never like to fire a coach in the middle of the season.
No.
Now you're talking about a franchise, and I was actually Tony and I we were trading an email about a topic here, but we're talking about a franchise that from 2014 to 2024 went from just under $1 billion of value to $6 billion of value.
That's wild.
And they continue to just push out a dog crap product.
So it's like the weathercasters of sports.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
They don't have to be right. They still have a damn good job and worth a lot of money.
That's really what it comes down to is you just keep making money and like relentlessly making money.
So the Bears are the Mexican Weather Channel chicks of the NFL.
I don't know if they're that good looking.
Well, you're right. They're not. I like their logo though.
But so they fired Shane Waldron, which again we get into this cycle, and I think we can talk about cycles and parallels to mortgages, real estate, and insurance too. But so we fire Shane Waldron, the offensive coordinator. We call up, I forgot the guy's name, the passing game coordinator, who was the offensive coordinator of the Carolina Panthers that suck and is the reason we have Caleb Williams now. It's great. So if they end up firing Eberflus at the end of the year and get rid of this passing game coordinator, Caleb Williams will have 3 play callers inside of 18 months.
Nice.
You know what that sounds like?
What?
Like when we had Justin Fields. You know what else that sounds like? When we had Mitch Trubisky.
Nice.
Or Jay Cutler.
What about Sexy Rexy?
Sexy Rexy.
I know none of these people's names.
Kyle Orton.
I am like
the Purdue grad.
Oh yeah.
But I think the problem is the Bears themselves. Like you continue to run this frugal operation, and they don't want to fire a coach midseason because they have to pay the coach the rest of his contract.
Oh, yeah, pay somebody to do nothing.
Yeah, so when your franchise is worth $6 billion, but I think when we look at who else owns NFL teams. Billionaires with businesses. Mm-hmm. The Bears bought the Hallis McCaskey family. They're into this thing for like $500, and it's now worth $6 billion.
See, I don't know, man. I think part of the romance of the love affair with the Bears for the fans is that they always suck, but they have 1985. I think at this stage, like they've been so bad for so long that if we were to get like some new ownership or something, I'm not sure it would pay off. Like they're used to losing.
Well, it's just, I mean, you don't think like the Cubs thing would happen, or like the guy, like what's his name, Theo would come in,
right?
Like that guy like him. Yeah, and then it's like amazing. Well, now the Cubs did the Cubs lose their luster because they finally won?
Maybe.
I don't know. Anyway, sorry.
Well,
I took that on the sidecar.
But let's go back to, we can talk about 1985, right? It's 40 years ago at this point.
Yeah.
Things are different. Things are different in the real estate world, the insurance world, the mortgage world, but everything's still the same on the lakefront. So do you want to continue to run that same play that gets you maybe a wild card appearance every once in a while, and maybe it doesn't get you home? It doesn't get you that sensation.
There used to be an airport there, Midsfield. That's gone. So that's not.
They ripped it out in the middle of the night.
Gone.
And I'm old enough. I did the Super Bowl shuffle.
Yeah.
Like, before. But no. I mean, give me 3 weeks. I've done the Super Bowl shuffle, and I did the Pee Wee dance.
What about
115 Bourbon Street on channels 2, 5, 7, 9, and 32?
What about the Truffle Shuffle?
I'm not familiar with the Truffle Shuffle.
Really?
Is that out of Goonies?
Goonies.
Hey, you guys!
I heard they're remaking that too.
I mean,
I don't know if it's a sequel or a remake. Either way, we need some new.
We need new ideas.
Yeah.
A new process, a new approach. And I think yesterday I heard someone make a comment about, and it was you and I were talking about it about 15 years ago, seeing a rate sheet with rates 9, 10, 11, 12%.
Oh no, it was much longer than that. But yeah. The books that used to come out, right?
Would they print them?
Yeah. So before calculators were affordable, they had books that were like a calculator where you could calculate a payment.
Yeah.
And the title
was already
companies,
done for you, like in a chart.
Yeah, the title companies would give them to realtors. And when we acquired Remax South Suburban, the guy had opened the company up in '79. He was a realtor from '71, and he gave me these boxes of all these books and things. Like, this is memorabilia. Like, you should have this. Well, some of the stuff that was in there was these books, and it's at my house somewhere. I have one that the lowest rate starts at like 11 or 12 or something, and it goes to like 19.
Holy cow.
But the lowest rate in the book was like 11 or 12 because you just weren't going to get a rate less than that.
That's wild.
So,
which plays into a couple of weeks ago, our episode about what happens when the Federal Reserve gets involved in all of that stuff. But rates, we'll talk about rates real quick, and then we'll dive into the rest of the stuff we want to talk about. I think, Fed, was it last week, cut Fed funds rate by another quarter. Everyone expected mortgage rates to fall after that. And I think what goes on is there's this assumption, right? In America, everyone loves the idea of easy. And it's like, oh, the Federal Reserve just hit a button and all of a sudden mortgage interest rates drop. And that's not how it goes. There's a lot of market factors. It's kind of like, I thought of a comparison. You ever hear like an NFL play call?
Have I heard it?
Yeah,
No.
All right. So I wrote one down. Hop to gun blue, king trips, right tear, 52 sway, all go spread, X shadow,
What does that
cross
mean?
H wide. Exactly. What it means? It means this. This is what mortgage-backed security trading looks like on a daily basis. This is why the Federal Reserve, there's not just an easy button that goes, oh, just cut the Fed funds rate and mortgage rates go on. There is a lot of market factors that go into this. The biggest one this morning came out, CPI came out, inflation number, year over year and month over month came on right on target, which is good. That means that.
And the CPI is the Consumer Price Index.
Yeah. Good. I always speak in acronyms and then I mess it up.
There you go. No, it's all right.
Which is questionable if that really accurately measures inflation, but it isn't.
When it comes to markets, like, it's almost like it doesn't matter. Right?
It doesn't. It's just
like they don't care.
They don't.
Like, they're playing their own game.
So good news is that kind of validates or supports the Fed funds rate cut from last month or last week. Inflation seems to be relatively under control. However you want to define relatively, because you're talking about a situation where it spiked by 10 or 11% and continues to go at 2.25%. But hey, what do I know? That's good for interest rates. I think that we're going to start to finally see stability. Stability is going to be huge because we have had volatility for the last 3 weeks with the election. When we were on here a couple weeks ago talking about if Trump wins, rates go up. If Harris wins, rates go up. Rates spiked after the Trump win. So did the stock market. So did Bitcoin.
Everything.
It is what it is. But we need to get into the strategy of the right plan and getting out of the cycle of overbearing ideas or these intrusive thoughts if you want to buy a house. Rates are what rates are.
Well, you mentioned stability, and I'm seeing, and I think I see it on the front end, possibly before both of you guys, like in this last week. So Trump won, what was it, like last week? Mm-hmm. And then I took a few days away, and my phone started ringing and I started getting messages. I've been hit up. I'm on like 3 appointments, listing appointments, and several people, hey, we're planning on. And I can tell you this, like myself, I've had a number of people. I can think of 2 specifically, one that you've already spoke to, that were specifically waiting until after the election.
I've heard this trend. Lots of people.
I'll tell you this, the small business owners, the self-employed, one of which basically is, even though he W-2s himself, there was a lot of fear over a Harris win. The Obama presidency was just obliterated small business. And people who are my age or older, I think really the sweet spot for it's probably like 55 to early 60s. These guys were right at the prime of their money-making years, and their businesses got destroyed. So a lot of them, rightly so, like held back on any major expenses or making any major moves. And the big corporations are a real different thing, but we're talking about mom and pop America. And I think, one of the things that they say about stock markets is to them, it's almost like they don't really care who wins. They just want to know like who it's going to be. And once we know, okay, we have some idea for what things are going to look like, we can plan accordingly. With the small businesses and like the people who work for small businesses, it really wasn't the same, because the regulations and the taxes that they felt could have really crushed them. So now I think we'll see some years of people feel a little bit more comfortable to take some aggressive moves and things. And I think we're going to see it show up in the housing.
I never thought about it that way. I always thought like, oh, what's the matter for the election? But like as a small business owner, I don't think people realize how much risk these people take in our country. Like the people who have 1, 2, 3, 4 employees, you think that they're making all this money. They are not. They are risking a lot of it. Right. And a lot of it has to do with how the taxes are shaping up, regulations, like you said. That makes a lot more sense to me now that you said that.
Yeah, I mean, health insurance too. Like,
oh my God, health insurance. Wow.
Well, we have one. I mean, and from the automotive world, all right, and there is a lot of people in the automotive world. The high performance automotive world, there's a ton of people, automotive and motorcycles and things like that. So I know 2 guys who own high performance motorcycle shops. They had big fear over restrictions on what they can do to a vehicle that could be on the road. Yeah. There's been some massive fines in the last few years. A small guy got fined $1 million for taking the DEF thing off of a diesel truck, which is a super common thing, and zillions of guys did it. So all of those guys were really on hold because they're like, it's been pretty bad and it's going to go next level worse. So, like our friends, I'm talking about, they'll probably be a lot more open to doing some things, spending some money here.
Nice. That's great news. Love that.
We love when people spend money.
Well, it's not just spending. It's just like you say spend, but they're actually investing it in the community. Like when something opens up, it doesn't matter what it is. You're trying to provide a service. You're trying to like add value in the community. It's not like, oh, I'm going to open this thing. Now you're helping somebody. Otherwise you would make money. If you weren't helping someone, you would make money. So it's good to have that momentum a little bit. And it doesn't matter where you land politically. It's just good to have
stability, right? Mm-hmm. We know we're seeing everything shape up now. The markets are going to absorb it. It doesn't fix, and we've talked about this several times, right? The concern and this perception of affordability, the 2 biggest things, right? This unhealthy, unrealistic focus on interest rate. That's not really your case. Again, 0.5% on $300,000 is $100 a month. So 7 to 6.5. 100, 6.5 to 6, 100. And we see people frequently spending $800-900 a month at Grubhub, Starbucks. It's a budget adjuster, right? But I think your dollar is going to go a little farther now. I think that's what a lot of things we've heard. Speaking of things going farther and companies digging into things, insurance continues to, be the decimated, beat the hell.
Yeah, if that's my segue.
Yeah. Hey, here's the cue. Hold on.
We tend we tend to be villainized a little bit because people inherently think that insurance companies are out there to rip them off, which is fine for the public to think that. But the reality is we are the foundation of the entire financial system. If insurance goes south, all real estate transactions shut down. So we've talked about it a little bit before, but what's happening is 1, we can't control the weather. 2, the prices of everything, labor and materials have gone up. And when weather damages a house more frequently and more severely, and prices of everything have gone up, now you've got this storm.
It's more money and more often.
More money and more often. So insurance companies yes, they want to make money, right? That's what they're in it for. That's what every business is in it for. Even the ones that call themselves nonprofit, they still are making money. But that's what's caused the rise in price. But this is the other thing that people haven't realized. We had a short conversation about it before. The real estate transaction is going to fundamentally change based on the condition of a roof, specifically the condition of your roof. Why? Because it is the biggest exposure that we have. Think about it. 1 hailstorm comes through St. John, Indiana. How many houses are here?
Now, has there been any talk about, so say that happens to me. I'm the listing agent and everything's fine with the buyer and we get to the end. And most contracts, by the way, say, you have a certain amount of time to get homeowners insurance. All right.
Mhm.
But even if you go beyond that, right, you're not going to be able to get your mortgage if you can't use homeowners insurance, right? So the mortgage contingency is going to kick in. Will a insurance underwriter accept an agreement to pay a contractor to have a roof completed out of the proceeds?
Yes. If there is a contract to have this work done, they are much more lenient in the underwriting process.
This is great to know. This is huge, because we're going to have to consider that. So instead of killing a deal, right, your people don't have the money to put the roof on, and they'd be happy to give a credit. You can't give a credit that big because they can't do anything with it, and it can't be for the roof, right? We can put together a contract for the proceeds to be applied to this guy. And then we escrow that money, right? So the money is held at the title company until the contractor completes the work. Contractor completes the work. Everyone agrees. Title company releases the money to the contractor. We just did this with a septic system in Dyer. It was a rather expensive one too. It was, I don't know, $24,000 or something on a small house.
Yeah.
They didn't have the money. This is what we did. Seller was able to sell, buyer was able to buy, but we had to have like a solid contract to a legitimate company that does this work.
So things that I think that changes in the process for realtors. One, you never really, you guys all have connections. You all network, you have people. You got a loan guy, you got an insurance guy, you got a home inspector. You're going to need to find a roofer now. Like never before was that a thing, I don't think. Like you need
it is. We can get roof certs.
Good.
I can get you a roof cert, $50 on anything.
But we're not looking for a cert. We're looking to, we're looking to help someone.
That's going to be part of the problem though. All right.
Shortcuts.
We should talk about that there. So it is a thing. And there's actually some towns that we do business with in Illinois that you're not closing until you have a roof cert. So what's happened is a zillion guys have literally like, you give me $50, like I'll write your roof cert. That's going to be completely worthless.
It's going to make problems because the insurance company doesn't care about your roof cert.
This is what I'm saying. And you don't want that, because the other thing that you don't want is if you get that cert, the guy closes and then the insurance company sends their guy out and then they kill off that part of the policy. Like everybody has cert. The guy who issued the roof cert could be sued. The guy who had the contact to get the roof cert could be sued.
Bingo.
All right. It's a whole bunch of liability.
Quite frankly,
so you just have to do it on the up and up now. You've got to be looking at those things on the front end.
Yeah, and finding a roofer, like not for a cert, but that does quality work and doesn't rip people off and is going to be around like in 3 years when something might go wrong. And then the other thing is just a real quick high level on the timeline on this. So if I get a customer who's going to buy a house, and right now it's November 12th, but they're not going to close till December 20th, right? We won't know until January 10th what's going on with the eligibility for that roof. One, because we talked about it, but there's costs associated with sending someone out and whatever. It has to be a final deal. So when that comes back and it says, nope, this roof's no good, there's usually a 60-day window that they now have where there's coverage in place. Even though your roof's bad, we said no, and you can get that done. So,
right.
So think about that though. Like in Illinois, we're dealing with weather. Like you're not going to want to put a roof on in February. So, there's some things you might want to.
That's really one of the things, that I would recommend for Indiana agents specifically. You should talk to your broker. There's a high likelihood your broker won't even really know. And get with your title companies and the attorneys for title companies as to how to do proper post-closing escrow holdbacks.
Yeah.
All right. The thing that we face in these things is that there's nobody to draw them up. I mean, I've drawn them up. I don't appreciate taking the liability myself, but I know what they look like. These are some things where I think we're going to have to call on our title companies to give us some assistance here.
Or do the lawyers start making their way into the real estate transactions?
The realtors they'll keep them out, push them out. It's not going to happen. But if you're going to be able to avoid a lot of falling apart deals and potential lawsuits here, if we get on top of these things now, like I can tell you, there's one major title company in Northwest Indiana that like post-close escrows, they like do everything in their power to shut them down. You got to hop past the person that is the person for this region and go to their superior, because the title companies at the highest levels know that there's good reasons for these things. It's one of the reasons that they're in business, right? That is part of their job. So you're gonna have to figure out how that's done, how it's written up, and be able to do it efficiently.
True that.
I mean, it's on the mortgage side. So we were talking earlier too about the expectation of the requirements are different. The insurance world, the real estate world, and the mortgage world all across roofs. So like FHA, HUD, and USDA, like their opinion is a roof is good if it has at least 2 years of useful life left. If it looks like it's got 2 years of useful life left, it's probably 10 years past its prime.
Which like is a super subjective thing. Like that's someone thinking, right? And then also knowing, and most people do know this, but roofs have years associated with them when they put them on. Those are not the years that they last in the Midwest. Okay. So a 20-year roof, if you get 12 years out of it in Chicago, you're doing well. And 30-year roof, if you get 20 years out of it, you're doing good.
And if it looks like somebody sprinkled Lay's potato chips up on the roof, it's probably near time.
It's bad.
It's likely less than 2 left.
Or the shingles are they're looking like they're doing some type of sun worship, clawing up a little bit.
And the last thing about roofs, I'm super passionate, if you can tell, but your roofs leak and they might not be a weather-related incident. So just because your roof is now leaking doesn't mean insurance is going to cover it. We are not a maintenance policy. If it's sudden and accidental, wind, hail, whatever, cool, we might be able to help. But if your roof just starts leaking, the flashing probably went wrong. It's probably like time to replace your roof. Your insurance is not for that, and they won't cover that.
And I think we talked about this before. Once you make the inquiry about the claim, it's a claim.
It's a claim. And
So-
now you're looking very undesirable because you have a claim. Well, it doesn't matter if it got paid or not. So it makes a difference if your agent can talk you through that, or if you call your agent and they're just like, yeah, put a claim through. That's not cool. Because what if there isn't one?
Man, I had that happen for the smallest thing ever, and it affected me for 5 years.
5 years.
It actually precluded me from getting State Farm insurance. I can't hold it against them because it's kind of how everybody operates. And it was the stupidest thing. I got like $1,800 out of it.
Yeah.
And it cost me getting good insurance. My rates went up way more than that for the next 5 years. So it was just stupid.
Yeah. So it's got to be educated. And we always come back to that, but.
And understanding the longer term impact, right? Like we close your mortgage and then 38 days, 40 days later, you get dropped on your insurance coverage. Now we're dealing with forced place insurance, which now you're getting a real crappy policy at a super expensive cost, throws you into escrow shortage, payment jumping up, all of that right away. So how do we combat this? Quality home inspector up front,
Yeah.
under agents that understand the effect or causation of potential problems when they're listing a house. Hey, this roof looks like it's.
You've got to do it when you're showing houses. And I don't know how you get there without experience.
I was just going to say that.
I feel like I'm better at looking at a roof than a lot of agents. I have a lot of experience though. I don't know if it's get with a roofer guy and have him teach you something, but like it's something that I try to cover with people when we're looking at houses. I notice a lot of times when I take you to go see a house, like you're looking here, like you're not looking up. And I tell people often, I'm like, well, I'm going to be looking out for these type of things. Like you're either going to like the house or not. I have no dog in that hunt. I'm looking for things that are going to trip you up. The roof is a big one. We talk about it, but you're going to have to get to know a little bit about roofs. If any of you have any questions, I'm kind of happy to talk to you about what I know. But
Hey, what's that water stain in the corner door? Someone spilled their water and it splashed all the way up there.
There's that. But I mean, I've learned, we're looking at granular loss.
Yeah.
Right. How much granular loss do we have? We're looking for small holes, areas where it looks like it wore thin.
Heat blisters.
We're looking for big gaps. We're looking for edges coming up kind of everywhere.
Curling.
All right.
How about multiple layers?
Multiple layers.
It's like, dude, why did it cost that roofer like $300 to remove the roof and they left it on there?
Right. Exactly.
It doesn't double protect you. It's like, what? Never mind. I won't make that.
Double wrap it.
Everyone knows.
Everyone knows what you're talking about.
All right. So roofs continue, insurance continues to be the next boogeyman in the transaction, I guess is the best way to put it.
Yeah, but the big question is it roof or is it roof?
Roof. I don't know why they call it roof.
Roof?
I don't know why they always call it. I don't know why they call them. I don't know why they call them roofies, but I always end up on the floor. Roof.
Well, What else we got, Tony?
What else you guys got? Anything?
Well, you know what? I think we're in a good place right now. I think we're going to see activity come up as people feel more comfortable for the direction that we're going in. I think you're going to see people start to make some moves regardless of what it costs because they feel like they're going to make more money. You know, when I was making one of the biggest expenses that I ever made, I was talking to a close friend of mine who was a really successful guy. And I was feeling like maybe I was going to pull out of the deal. And he's like, look, man, he's like, you know what? You're probably going to make more money as your life goes on, right? And I'm like, yeah. He's like, well, I believe that you are. You believe that you are. And so you commit to the program. And I think now people feel like, okay, I'm probably going to make more money. There's more opportunity at whatever level. So we're going to see people start to spend some money, more money here. Rates are not going to be the solution. You're not going to see rates go to like 4%. Everybody can buy a house again because prices would have to drop. And in a great economy, that's probably not going to happen.
Yeah.
So like we always say, make a plan. Get with us to determine what the plan is, and then buying and selling your house is like knocking down dominoes. We just click the first one and they go down. We had it happen yesterday, right?
Yep.
Super smooth deal. These people didn't know how they were going to get out of their house in Thornton and buy another one. We spent a little bit more time on the front end, spent a little bit more time maybe looking for a house, right? And then when we figured out what we wanted to do, boom, 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 we knocked them all down, closed on their last house on Friday. Right? Got the money. They gave we got the seller to give a post-closing possession so that they could stay in the house over the weekend. Got their stuff out, closed on the new one yesterday with a U-Haul truck literally down the street. All right. Close and they're in. So we can do the same for you. There's a lot of moving parts, but we can make these parts all come together, put together a plan.
I think the biggest part of that yesterday was when they said everyone else in our circle was telling us that this was not going to work out. Oh. And you guys consistently told us, no, this is the plan. This is the process. Thank you for making it so easy.
Yeah, absolutely. It was really good. I've asked for them to like write that in a Google review because people oftentimes, you've got to have a little bit of faith in us.
Yeah. Sounds like those people need a new circle.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I think that's what we talk about, like the overbearing thing, right? Like you always, sometimes people get in your ear, but like these people maybe haven't bought a house in 15 or 20 years, don't understand what the market conditions are, don't understand what rates are, what payments could be. And we're in the trenches every day, hearing about it, figuring out how to navigate through it, putting together a plan. I mean, these guys put together a plan. We knew their exact budget. We got their cash out of pocket to within $800 where they wanted to be, and their payment within $9 a month where they wanted to be.
Awesome.
We can cut it like it's some ham on the side of Italian hillside. I love it. Anything else?
No, I hope you guys are right about it. I think you're right. I think there's probably people that have been waiting for rates to come down, and that's just not going to be.
I'm super busy. Like it feels great.
Let's
like,
go.
Who cares about the rates when your dollar's worth more? That's
right.
Or you're making more dollars.
Exactly.
I think Tony, we talked about this with Adam too a couple of weeks ago. Next time you're on, we're going to go really deep into disclosure requirements.
Yeah. We have to talk about disclosures. I just saw one yesterday. I was requested to do an analysis on a property that is listed, that isn't moving. And not only did I see some incorrect information that's hindering the sale, I saw some other information that was left out that could jeopardize this individual afterwards. All right. So we want to talk about that because post-closing suits relative to what you knew about the property are a big thing. And those are things that can go from starts out at $10,000. The next thing you know, you're getting sued for $100,000. All right. So we want to cover those things, and we'll do that the next time I'm on.
Full disclosure, baby. We'll put a lot of asterisks on that one. All right. You guys have a great rest of your week. We got you next Wednesday, actually, maybe a couple Wednesdays, and then Tony's back. Full disclosure, baby.
Here we go.
Excellent.